looking at the brine tank that ships with aQuatell water softeners, and it's a very similar brine tank to many of the brine tanks you'll see out there with other makes and models of water softeners as well. A couple things I'll point out to you. First of all, I'll give you some landmarks here. First of all, this is the inside of the brine tank itself. Down at the bottom, there's a beige colored perforated disc. That's a brine grid. It's an option that we offer with our water softeners. Some people like them and some people don't. And then this tube right here is a 4-inch diameter white tube. That's called the Brine Well. And that Brine Well holds the safety float assembly. So we'll take the lid off here, and that will reveal the connector. This black piece here is the top of the safety float, and this white tube is the brine line, which connects up to the valve. And that brine line is what the brine solution travels through up towards the valve, and then the valve also pushes water down that tubing to refill the brine tank when the regeneration process is completed. So we're going to take things apart here. There's a hex nut, which is plastic, which unscrews. And once that's unscrewed, we'll pull it apart. I'll hold it against the black background here so you can see some very important features. Again, we've got the hex nut right here. We've got the brine line, and then we've got two separate pieces. They look like they're one, but this is a black split ring, and this is a ferrule. And then inserted into the end of the tube is a tube stay. In this case, it's brass, but it can be plastic as well. The tube stay gives the tube some rigidity. These two pieces right here, the split ring and the ferrule, are part of the compression fitting, so that when this whole thing goes together, this threaded piece pulls the top of the safety float to this nut, and then there's some pressure exerted on these pieces here, which seals this entire unit up. The seal that we have between the brine line and the top of the safety float here is extremely important in the proper functioning of a water softener. There can't be any water leaks or air leaks there, or it can make a number of different things not work properly, with the net result of you not getting soft water any longer. Now we'll show you how the safety float comes out. There's a nut that unscrews here, and the safety float simply lifts out. Safety float's comprised of a number of different pieces. At the very bottom here, we've got the pickup. It's got some holes cut in, or some perforations down here, that allows the water and the brine solution to pass through. If we rocker this back and forth, there's a marble in there, a plastic marble. That marble floats. So this also acts as an air check. So when this is filling up with water, the water fills, and the marble is lifted up. And then it dissolves some salt, so you've got a brine solution now, and then the water softener draws the brine solution out, and the water level drops, and eventually this floating marble makes contact at the bottom here with a small opening, and it seals that opening and prevents any air from being drawn through for the later cycles of the water softener regeneration. If we look up at the top of the safety float, we've got the actual float here, and then we've got a small armature that it's attached to right here. So as the water level rises inside the brine tank, if it was to rise too high, it would push up on this safety float, which would move that armature up at the top. And as that armature moves upwards, it blocks this path. So water can no longer be added to the brine tank. Why would too much water be added to a brine tank? If it's programmed incorrectly and the brine fill cycle is set for too long an amount of time, you could potentially add too much water to the brine tank and overflow it if it weren't for this safety device. Or occasionally valves can fail, and they can fail in a position where they continually add water to the brine tank, in which case, again, this lifts up, armature closes the valve, and no more water can be added to the brine tank. So we'll put this all back together. Again, extremely important that this connection is made properly. We've got the split ring, the ferrule, the tube stay, and that all pushes in. And we bring the nut up to the threads. We screw that together till it's snug. And then I always like to give it about a 1/8 or 1/6 of a turn with a wrench. It's a plastic fitting, so we don't want to over tighten it because it could crack, but we do want to make sure it's nice and snug so it's watertight and airtight.